Hey, what is up guys? Jay Burton here, and today I'm bringing you a quick video on Frostmage rotations in and out of burst in PvP for patch 6.2.3. Now I did have another video, it was my Frostmage part 2 guide that talked about burst rotations, but this time I actually wanted a video that actually shows me using them and just go a little bit more in depth on both in and out of burst. Before I get started, there's an add-on I really do recommend. Let me find it real quick. There it is. It's Mallow W in Canner's Flow. I'll link it in the description. It basically puts a little yellow box on your screen that you can move around, and it helps you keep track of your stacks on your Canner's Flow instead of just looking up at the icon in the top right. So you can keep this, near your targets in arenas, whatever, so you can really watch. Really helpful. Okay, so let's move into the burst phase. So, remember, we want to double Ice Nova at the peak of our Canner's Flow. If at all possible, you want to try to have your proc trinket up and your like 4 to 5 stacks of Canner's Flow when you do your main burst, but the chances of lining these up are very unlikely. We can burst every 1 minute, so you want to make sure you effectively burst every single minute. And I also recommend, as soon as the match starts, as soon as you get into the arena, get that one polymorph off, unless they're out of line of sight. If they are out of line of sight, just skip that step. Just go right into bursting, right at the start of the match. We can do it every 1 minute, so if we can force a defensive right off the bat, doing really well. And if they don't, well whatever, we still have another burst up in 1 minute. Okay, so anyways, don't pop Icy Veins during your burst. Icy Veins is meant for hard casting spells, and there's a good chance it'll get dispelled. It's a 3-minute cooldown too, so we won't get to use it too much. So don't use it during your burst. Our burst is all instant cast, so it's a waste to pop Icy Veins with the burst. So, how we'll start off. As soon as you're at 3 stacks of Canner's Flow, 3 stacks going up that is, go and shoot out your Frozen Orb, that way we can have our Fingers of Frost charges building up, and then as soon as we're at 4 stacks of Canner's Flow, boom, 1 Ice Nova. Now you're at 5 stacks of Canner's Flow, boom, another Ice Nova. You just did 2 Ice Novas at the absolute peak of your damage. That's where most of your burst will come from. And then after that, if you're at 2 Fingers of Frost charges, which you most likely should be, either use one on a deep freeze to CC the healer, like so they can't heal while you're bursting, or CC your target so they can't use like a deterrence or some type of defensive. I would most likely though recommend, if you're not going to use it to CC a healer, to just use it on another Ice Lance. So just Ice Lance once, so you're not at 2 charges. Because remember, Fingers of Frost only stacks up twice. If we get another one, it's going to erase like the first one. So, use one at this time to just get it down to 1 charge. Then after that, we're going to follow it up with our Comet Storm, then another Ice Lance. Then this is when I would go ahead and use my Frost Elemental's Freeze if you haven't used it to do a Deep Sheep. If your Frost Elemental Freeze is up, go ahead and use it again on the target and get another Ice Lance off, maybe 2 Ice Lances if there's a pet in there or you caught 2 people in it. And that is the burst. We can do this every single minute, and it's a lot of damage. Really simple. Now let's move on to your DPS rotation outside of burst. As soon as you're done bursting, I would recommend you pop your Icy Veins, as long as you're able to get Frostbolts off. If you're LOS, don't waste it yet, but as soon as you're in a good position to get Frostbolts off, Icy Veins, and just start going Frostbolt ham. The overall goal is when that next minute rolls around, when our burst is back up, we'll have 5 good, heavy charges of icicles above our head, and maybe even a Brain Freeze proc. That would be excellent if we can combine all of that into our next burst. However, if you still have like 40 seconds till your next burst is up, don't hesitate to use those Fingers of Frost charges and those Brain Freeze procs. Don't just hold them too long and let them time out, because then they're worthless. But if you're like within 6 seconds of your burst phase and you got those up, hold on to those for just a little longer, and you can really get a lot out of your burst. So anyways, we're going to be Frostbolting. If you do hit 2 charges of Fingers of Frost, go ahead and Ice Lance or Deep Freeze somebody for a Deep Sheep or something. That way we don't overlap Fingers of Frost charges. Don't use your Ice Novas. You want to save them. Keep all charges until you burst. Don't just use one every 25 seconds. We get much more out of it if we just use them at the same time. just more on-demand big burst, opposed to sustained damage. Comet Storm has a 30-second cooldown, so you can actually pop this right in the middle, like 30 seconds after you bursted. You can pop this again. You just have to watch it, because it's nice to keep that and have it when you can burst. So use it carefully. And that's all I got for rotations. Now, I'm not saying this is the most mandatory way you have to use rotations. It's just how I do it. If you guys have any questions, just leave a comment in the section below and I'll reply to it as soon as I can. And if you did enjoy the video, hit that subscribe button for me. Alright guys, thanks for watching.